You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Rotunda, also known as IRS, Erwin Shyster, formerly with WWF.
What's going on? It's your girl, Valentina Loca.
Hey everybody, this is Rip Studwell.
Hello everybody, it's Ethan Everhart.
What is up, wrestling world? This is the resident rock star of Impact Pro Wrestling, Adam Love.
This is Lars Metzger.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your golden boy, Bryce Jordan.
Woo! It's the Corn Belt Cowboy, the one called Manders, and you're listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis, and tonight we are starting kind of our road to the Hall of Fame Weekend series that we've been doing the last several years. It's one of my favorite events of the year, and I know we just wrapped up Bridge City Slam coverage, but again, it's time to get right rocking and rolling into Hall of Fame coverage, and so I'm very excited for my guest here tonight. Somebody I've had on the show before, somebody who's been a big part of Hall of Fame Weekend for the last several years, and I know it's one of your favorite weekends as well. And at this time, I'm going to welcome in my guest, the Death Dealer. My friend, how are you doing tonight? And again, I complimented it when you first joined in the show, but I gotta say that's a great shirt you got on.
Thank you. It's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me. I just to kind of touch on it, I with Bridge City, I had a blast, and it was really cool to have all the legends being a part of that. And getting punched in the face by Cowboy Bob Orton is a great way to end the night. And Kurt Angle holding my son was really cool. So I like to thank Austin Bayless and everybody at Central Empire Wrestling for having me.
Yeah, I didn't even expect to see you there. So when I was there all weekend, obviously, and we did commentary that night. Got there, saw you at the Fan Fest there, and it was great to catch up with you guys. I didn't know you were actually having a match that night until, we kind of sat down and we got the card in front of us. I'm like, wait, he wasn't originally scheduled to be in this matchup, but yeah, that was kind of cool. A nice little surprise for me, like I said, to see you kind of get thrown in there with those guys and then that 6-man tag match.
Yeah, I didn't know until 24 hours beforehand, but this is a good lesson. Always bring your gear as a professional. Always bring your gear. Austin hits me up saying, "Hey, we got a spot for you." I'm like, "Hey, I was planning on bringing my gear anyway." So it all worked out, and turned out to be a really fun experience for me, and really cool setup that they have over there in that venue. And
yeah,
I heard there was about 700 people there, and it was full, and they were loud, and it was a lot of fun to be there.
Yeah, I really enjoy that Fan Fest, and again, I feel like they're starting to do a little bit, even kind of taking a little bit away from Austin's Fan Fest and implementing that in with the Fan Fest that we do for Hall of Fame this year. I noticed the kind of meet and greet stuff before the show this year is a little bit longer too, which I think is a great move for the Hall of Fame this year. I saw the start time for that. I was like, that's a great move to have it a little bit earlier. Austin usually does his for about 2 hours before the show, and that's plenty of time to get through everybody that you want to meet. And yeah, I'm really excited for this year. It's going to be weird for me. This will be the first year, man, for the Hall of Fame that I won't be coming in on Thursday in a long time. So I'm actually not coming in until Friday, and I'm not going to be able to stay Saturday this year. My wife and I are going to a concert Thursday night that when it got announced, I didn't even realize what the date was. I just know it's one of my wife's favorite bands. So I'm like, yeah, there's no way we're missing this, especially when it was like within a half-hour driving distance. And my brother-in-law texted me after I bought the tickets. He's like, "You realize what date that is, right?" And I was like, "Ah, shit."
Same. Yeah, I won't be there until Friday night, but I'll be staying through Saturday night, and I'll be leaving Sunday morning because
Yeah.
that banquet is a lot of fun, and there's always great memories to be had after the show and at the banquet. And then there's so much stuff going on Saturday into Saturday night, and if you're a wrestling fan in the area, or you see somebody on the poster that you'd like to go meet, this is a great place to go do that. It's all for a great cause. I believe all proceeds go to the Dan Gable Museum, so they can make that all looking nice and pretty all year round.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. We got a great list of guests already coming in this year. And one thing, man, that you've done the last several years is you've done a signed chair full of different legends, and you've been giving it away to different charities. Let's talk a little bit about the chair that you got this year. For those, I'm gonna let Alex explain the raffle, and then if you guys are interested in buying a ticket to the raffle or whatever, it will be in the link in the description on the YouTube page, and I'll have it in the Facebook post as well if you guys want to go ahead and get a link for that. But I'm going to let Alex explain a little bit more about the chair that he likes to gather autographs from.
So this chair, this whole idea started back in 2020 when the pandemic started, and there was no wrestling to be had, and it sucked for many reasons. You know, so it was about Christmas time or fall time when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put something together. I'm gonna auction it off. It's just so that there's some positive news at the end of 2020. So that was kind of the driving force behind it. And then, so I got all the Impact Pro Wrestling guys that I could find to hop on this chair, and was able to raise a good amount of money and donate it to Toys for Tots that year. And then the last two chairs I had, all the proceeds went to Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, otherwise known as SAVE, a great organization. I talked to some of the higher ups in there to kind of get their permission. So, hey, like, I'm not just putting your logo on a sheet and just attracting money or anything. I wanted an open, honest dialogue between us. So it was cool to talk to them and have their support with it. I was able to do two chairs for them. I wasn't entirely happy with the first auction for the first chair. And then the second chair I was pretty happy with, and was able to raise about $500-600 for them. But that brings us to this year, which I took last year off because I welcomed the world my firstborn son, and I'm back in August. And as Zach knows, kids take up your time and a lot of your energy and a lot of your focus. So I was stuck with about 4 or 5 names on this chair, and I was luckily able to fill it out at Bridge City with the likes of a Hall of Famer and Kurt Angle, and I got this chair here. And if we're looking at the names on here, like I said, we got Kurt Angle up there. We got John Nord. We have Cowboy Bob Orton, Earl Hebner, who was involved with AJ Smooth and Jossie, and Jim Ross, Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South. We got IRS down here, Trish Stratus right here in the middle, and Queen Deborah. So very happy with the names I have on this chair, and every single one of these people were very willing to be a part of this for me. And unfortunately, with I didn't get pictures of JR and IRS signing it, but I do have pictures, or John Nord. I think I missed John Nord too, but I do have pictures for everybody else. And IRS and Jim Ross, and John, they were all in Waterloo last year. So all these signatures are guaranteed to pass any inspection. Trish Stratus, I went up to go get her autograph for this chair, and I started explaining it. And if you were in Waterloo last year, you saw that she had camera crew with her, and it was kind of funny. I brought up the chair, and all of a sudden these camera people come in, and I see this boom come down. I'm like, hey, if this is a part of something that they're putting up on A&E or something in the future, that'd be pretty cool. So not only you're getting a chair signed by Trish Stratus, you're getting a chair that's signed by Trish Stratus that's possibly going to be on TV.
Yeah, I believe, cause I remember talking to one of the guys that was on the crew last year that was there, and I asked him what it was for. I'm pretty sure they were filming her for like an A&E documentary at some point, which I haven't seen like a trailer for, so Lord only knows when that documentary is going to come, but I'm sure that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Have you given any thought to again, we're getting ready to go into Hall of Fame weekend. A lot of great guests and a lot of guests too, man, that we've never had before that have never come to one of our shows. So that's kind of neat. Have you started to get some thoughts about bringing in another chair and get ready for next year?
Before I get to that, I forgot to mention on my part that the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, are going to ARL Animal Rescue League here in Des Moines. I thought it'd be more fun and more a connection to the community if I was able to use whatever celebrity I have to bring attention to something that's local. So that's why I chose Animal Rescue League. And ironically, we talked before we came on that my dog is going through his struggles right now. He just went through a plethora of surgeries yesterday at the time of the recording here, and he's doing fine. He's home now, and he seems alert, and everything's going good. But it's a little ironic that it's Animal Rescue League, and my 12-year-old Pomeranian decides to have a bunch of health issues all at once. But that little guy, he's so spry. There's no quitting him. He just doesn't care like what kind of pain is in him. He just wants to make people happy. But as far as this year goes, of course I'm going to bring another chair. This chair is going to come with me so I can promote it and everything like that. We'll bring QR codes so everybody can scan it and buy their tickets in Waterloo also. But yes, I'm going to bring a chair. I'm looking for Haku Ming first, and hopefully he doesn't grab me by my jaw.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet Haku. Another couple that I'm also excited for, Demolition. I've always heard really great things about Demolition meet and greets. When they got announced, I was really excited about them. Growing up as a kid, they were such a cool tag team with all the face paint and everything. And of course, those of us in the podcasting industry, of course, we're welcoming the one and only Conrad Thompson to the big show this year. So that's going to be pretty neat. And we got let's just to read off a few of the other names here we got coming to Hall of Fame. Devon Dudley, JBL. In all the years JBL's been there, I've never met him. Either something's happened where he hasn't been able to make it, or it feels like we just keep missing each other, and I have not been able to meet him in all the times he's been advertised to be there. Another one that kind of shocked me when this got announced, Marty Jannetty. That might be a cool one to get for the chair too.
Yeah, there's a few of those guys that I've met in Vegas at Cauliflower Alley Club, which if you're a wrestling fan, look into Cauliflower Alley Club. That organization is really cool. It's always done out in Las Vegas. So not only you get a nice trip out of it, but you get some notable names that come in and they induct. I believe Rey Mysterio went in a couple years ago. CM Punk is supposed to be there this year. So it's that organization. I've done that about 5 times. That's one of the first times I met Trish Stratus, and I met Marty Jannetty in the locker room one year, and it's kind of funny. Me and James Jeffries were sitting back there, getting ready to do this 1,000-man battle royal. I'm kidding, but like there was a lot of guys, and I'm like, hey, he's like, hey, that's Marty Jannetty over there. I'm like, yeah, it is. He's like, we should get his contacts, see if that can happen. He's like, I don't want to get in trouble. Let's go over there. So I'm like, if anything, I'm going to get in trouble for it. So we go over there, and he was one of the coolest guys. So if you're a Mari Janae fan, he's one of the coolest guys, one of the nicest guys you can meet.
Yeah, I know. I think coming up soon, sometime later this year, he's got a Dark Side of the Ring episode coming up over on the Vice channel. So I'll be interested to see that one as that drops. But like you mentioned, we have Haku. We also have Bill DeMott. That's a kind of a name I feel like we haven't heard in the wrestling cycle for quite some time. Famous trainer Les Thatcher. That's going to be kind of cool. I know he should be a name that I think a lot of wrestling fans should be familiar with. He's trained a lot of great guys that are still in wrestling today. So Ken Pantera is going to be there. Yeah, it's just, again, it's the who's who, man, of wrestling. And like I said, if you are giving it any thoughts this year, you can purchase all access passes still. $130 are on sale right now. Head over to the George Trejos Luthez Hall of Fame Facebook page. All the information for tickets and all access passes gets you a ticket to the Impact Pro Wrestling show and basically any other event, including the Hall of Fame banquet going on here this weekend. And like I said, the thing I am really going to miss this year about Thursday night, the trivia. I mean, that trivia is just so much fun.
Yeah, that's always a good time. It's I've I've made some good friends going and doing the trivia, and I don't really look for certain tables. I look for maybe one or two people I kind of recognize and kind of claim a spot there. And man, they dig deep. Those are deep cuts for those trivia questions, and like buildings that I've never seen before in my life that turn out to be like, oh man, did you know that Terry Funk and Ric Flair had a 60-minute draw in this building? And it's like, no, but it's always really cool to learn. You always learn something. And not only the trivia, but the museum that has some of the best memorabilia that you can ever see in your life, including some things from Bret Hart and Million Dollar Man and Roddy Piper. And yeah, it's just one of the best weekends that in Midwest wrestling, I'd say.
And another thing that's starting on Thursday night this year as well, if you are at the museum, the silent auction. The silent auction will basically be, there's a bunch, it's in the corner of the museum, kind of obviously in the pro wrestling wing, where there's just a bunch of different items put together. I know like last year, there was a couple piles of old WWF magazines. I had actually bid on those, but unfortunately got out. I was surprised at how much those went for. I was like, all right, I have my limit. I don't think anybody's going to go over that. Come back like 2 minutes later. I'm like, all right. But no, there's some really cool things in that silent auction. I'm curious to see what will be in the silent auction here this year, because yeah, it's again just a lot of fun, and it makes it even better that the hotel is just right there, so you can park your car. You pretty much don't have to use your car the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, the museum is about a block up the road. You're connected to the venue where the IPW show will be happening and the banquet will be happening. And yeah, it's just a walk across the street, and hopefully they'll have that skywalk open for us this year, and maybe it won't be 1,000 degrees in there.
Man, I think that's every skywalk you go to. That it's just, they're just hot as hell, and it doesn't matter.
It makes a difference when you're hauling your bags off from the parking garage to the hotel when you have a couple things you need to carry. So it's like, man, this is like my 4th time going over there, and then you gotta go park the car.
Or
but it's all well worth it.
Or when you're all dressed up and ready for the Hall of Fame ceremony, and then you're walking through the skywalk, and you get down there, and you're like, "Oh, I just sweated off 10 pounds walking through that skywalk."
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, those suits are no joke, especially in late July when the sun's still up.
Yeah.
So
another fun thing, man, that I love that Impact Pro Wrestling does in the summertime. They haven't run a ton of shows this year, and I don't know if that's by design by Troy Peterson and Co, because I feel like once he hits July, he really hits the ground running hard for the month of July, and I feel like that almost takes the entire year out of him, because by the time he's done doing all that, it's he's, I know, pretty wiped out. But the cool thing that they do is the fair shows. They have pretty much like the week leading up to the Hall of Fame, and then like the next week after, you guys have like a nice little 2-week tour almost of Impact Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that all works out. It's like, of course, we got a couple of other promotions in the area that kind of keep a lot of these guys in ring shape and able to just hop in the ring and go and deliver a good show. But it's cool to just walk into an Impact Pro Wrestling show knowing that you're going to get a quality show. And each one of these fair shows is no different. And it's one of my favorite times of the year because you're just traveling and wrestling and then traveling, and that's just life for 2 weeks, and you throw a Hall of Fame in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's almost like in the large scheme of things, like the Hall of Fame at some parts can seem like, especially I'm sure to you guys, kind of just a small stop on the way. Especially, I know a lot of you guys he has booked on every single one of these fair shows. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm in Waterloo. It's like legit, just like the old days. You're going from town to town, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And some of these fair shows, you're having multiple shows each time because you're doing a show at 1 o'clock, a show at 3 o'clock, maybe a show at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you do those for about like 3 days, and then you might have another show, say in Winterset, and then you have another show up in Humboldt that night at 7 o'clock, and then you got after 3 o'clock you got to haul up to Humboldt and do that show, and then you're back into Winterset the next day doing the 1, 3, and 5 again. And I remember one year we had the Kokota, and I believe we had Winterset this same year, and we did 1, 3, 5s for both of those. It was a lot of shows. It was a lot of wrestling, and if you're a wrestler, especially, and you get to do this tour with Impact Pro Wrestling, it really tests your love of pro wrestling. So I know a lot of guys they get burnt out after a couple months of just doing the once a month or a couple times a month here and there and through the winter and spring and fall. But dude, this summer schedule's no joke, and it's what you get into it for, though. So.
Well, yeah, on top of it too, this being in the middle of July, a lot of these shows are outside, and we know what some of those middle of July Iowa days are like, where it's 85, 90 degrees, sometimes 100. That mat, I'm sure, doesn't feel very pleasant to keep falling on multiple times a day.
No, and sometimes at 1 o'clock when the sun's beating down on it, it's not pleasant either. And then you get kids who have been out in the sun all day and think it's fine to throw water balloons at you. And sometimes it's okay too because you've been in the hot sun for an hour, So yeah, it's an experience unlike any other. I actually feel better after these 2 weeks because you're just wrestling every night. You build up that callus and feel like you go forever. And I think I weighed myself one time at before and after. I lost about 20 pounds in 2 weeks. So just that's what the wrestling setting up and tearing down the ring.
Yeah, I'm gonna read off some of the days here that we gotta just give the folks at home an idea of what your guys' schedule is like. So starting Sunday, July 9th, you are at the Lee County Fair. On Friday, July 14th, you are at the Taylor County Fairgrounds. On Saturday, July 15th, you're at the Jasper County Fairgrounds. Monday, July 17th, you're at the Marion County Fair. And then obviously we work our way into Hall of Fame weekend there. Friday, July 21st. Again, mind you, this is also the night of the Impact Pro Wrestling show at the Hall of Fame. So you guys you're basically running two crews that day.
That one is a 12 o'clock bell time.
Yeah, and that one's at the Muscatine County Fair.
Yep, there'll be guys doing both shows.
Yeah, that's great. That's insane, man. And then so we get through Hall of Fame weekend, and then Tuesday, July 25th, the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Iowa City. So if anybody's in the Iowa City area, and then Wednesday, July 26th, at Wauwazaa County Fair. Thursday, July 27th, Humboldt County Fair. And finally, Saturday, July 29th, Plymouth County Fairgrounds. I don't think I missed any, if that sounds right to you, but yeah, it's that's quite the schedule for you guys.
A lot of miles, a lot of wrestling. I there's a couple in there that I really like doing. Marion County, Knoxville. I love that one. The venue is really cool. The locker room is not awesome, but the show stage that we set up the ring in is really cool. They got those giant fans in there, and it's an awesome sight. Of course, Knoxville, the track is right there, and then Iowa City is one of my favorites. There's taco trucks and I love street tacos. Those are my favorite fair food that I can find. And of course, being tag champs with Justin Decent for Impact Pro Wrestling, that guy is a beer magnet. And he acquires so many beers that some fall off him, and I'm there to catch them. So it's a lot of fun. I had a blast last year, and I'm looking forward to it this year. Yeah, it's Humboldt's really cool too. The venue there, and then Lamar to end everything, which is the furthest one for us because that's up in northwest Iowa. I mean, you might as well go into South Dakota at that point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to get in the best shape that I can be to deliver the best show that I can. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm looking forward to Waterloo more than anything. Just those 2 nights, we'll be away from the kid for 2 nights, but I think we need it.
You need that. Yeah, I was gonna say you guys need that though. I mean, every parent knows they need a little bit of a break from the munchkin every now and then. Yeah, and of course grandparents love that grandparent time or whomever they're with too. So that's again, it's much needed for you guys. And we got a couple of those nights coming up this summer. Me and the missus do, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get back to Waterloo. It's funny, we were driving through Waterloo there a few weeks back. We were going up to Minnesota, and it took us up through Waterloo, and we were driving through, and I was like, it's weird to drive through Waterloo and drive past all my spots without having wrestling.
Yeah. 2020, the wife's stepbrother got deployed, and his base was in Waterloo, and they drove up by the hotel and the Five Sullivan brothers, and man, I'm like, we're gonna miss it this year.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know when we get back, that first one's gonna be awesome.
And it was, and the last couple have been a lot of fun, and this one's no exception. Again, all access passes right now, $130. Head over to the George Trails Luthez Facebook page to purchase your all access passes. It includes the Hall of Fame banquet and includes the Impact Pro Wrestling show as well. I'm going to read off the names again. We got Demolition, we got Conrad Thompson, Haku, Bill DeMont, Devon, JBL is going to be there this year. Marty Jannetty, Colt Cabana, Wes Briscoe. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited to see some of these different names that we haven't had there yet. So I'm really excited to see a lot of those. Like I said, a lot of the newer names. I feel like they did a nice job this year bringing in some of these new names that we have not seen. Like I said, it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's kind of cool for you too, to like, you're on a poster. You're kind of front and center here of the Impact Pro Wrestling poster for Saturday, for that Friday night show.
Yeah, it took me a minute to find me on that poster. It's my that made my day when I saw that poster. To be on that, to share that with those legends, and I didn't expect to be so prominently advertised, but that's gonna be one that I'm gonna store away and keep and hang up maybe on my wall down in my basement and tell my son about it when he gets old enough. And hopefully I'll be around for many more years so he can have memories of going to Waterloo with dad and mom and watching some wrestling.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I don't got a whole lot of time left, so I want to give you one last chance here to plug the chair, plug the tickets, and we'll kind of go through that one more time here before we head on out of here this evening.
So 100% of the proceeds will go to the Animal Rescue League. I'll say that first and foremost. And 2 Count was nice enough last night to announce that they were going to cover the shipping and handling for me. So I'm not actually losing any money on this one this year, which is awesome. But this chair is covered in Hall of Famers. As you can see, we got Trish Stratus right there. We got Kurt Angle, John the Barbarian, or North the Barbarian, pardon me, Cowboy Bob Orton, Earl Hebner, Jim Ross, Mouth of the South, IRS, Queen Deborah. Tickets start at $15. Like Zach said, he's going to put that description or the link in the description for me. And the raffle will run through SummerSlam August 5th. And I decided to raffle this year, hopefully to attract more funds to be donated to the charity this year. So I'd like to thank anybody and everybody who decides to purchase a ticket, and I will be bringing this chair to Waterloo to kind of promote it and have QR codes for anybody who has a hard time working their cell phones to get their tickets, and I'll be posting it all over my social medias. I'm pretty active on my Facebook page. Just type in The Death Dealer. You'll be able to find me, and The Death Dealer _RF on Instagram.
All right, there you have it there from the man himself. Again, thank you for coming on here tonight, and I was more than happy to help you promote the chair. It's such a great cause and something I said I saw you, and the first thing I said, I was like, you have the chair when I saw you last weekend at Bridge City. So that made me really happy to see you were continuing the chair I'm gonna call it the chair charity. I was happy to see you were able to get it completed, and like I said, now with the Hall of Fame weekend, you can actually get your next chair get a head start on your next chair too.
Yes, very much so, and I'm excited to see who I can get onto that one. It's gonna be hard to top this one. I don't know, with names like Trish Stratus and Kurt Angle in there. I mean,
yeah,
what's next? I gotta get like Ric Flair and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock on the next one if I'm gonna go bigger. But no, everything goes to a good cause, and I'm excited to do this every single year, and hopefully people can get a nice souvenir out of the deal and for many years to come.
Indeed. It's good. It's again going to a good cause. Check the link in the descriptions, if you will, please. And again, thank you guys for your continued support of our show, and thank you for your continued support of Impact Pro Wrestling and just Iowa independent wrestling in general. Again, get your tickets to the Hall of Fame weekend. All access passes are on sale right now for $130. Gets you into just about everything. So it's a great deal for if you're a big time pro wrestling fan for a great weekend. So that's going to do it for us here this week on Shotgun Wrestling Radio. And until next time, we will see you right here on the World Wide Web.